The one guest at William Folley's funeral that no one expected to see was William Frawley. A name that classic TV and movie fans will recognize, Frawley was an actor whose career spanned several decades and whose contributions to entertainment are still remembered today. He was born on February 26, 1887, in Burlington, Iowa, the second child of cigar maker Michael A. Frawley and Mary E. Brady. As a child, he loved singing and performing, traits that would later shape his career. Even though he grew up in a strict Catholic family, Frawley's love of entertainment couldn't be stopped. He would often slip away to play at local theaters, much to his mother's dismay. This rebellious spirit in him was clear from the start. Talent set the stage for what would become a storied career in show business. Frawley's early career was a mixture of vaudeville performances and Broadway appearances. In 1914 he formed a comedy with his wife Edna Leesborough and they toured the Vale circuit as Frawley and Louise. Although their act gained some popularity, their marriage was tumultuous and ended in divorce. In 1927 Frawley then moved to Hollywood, where he began to transition from stage to screen. His rugged demeanor and gruff voice made him a natural fit for character roles in films. He was in nearly 100 movies in the 1930s and 1940s, frequently portraying the tough guy or the no-nonsense everyman. Some of his most famous parts were in classics like Miracle the 34th Street, 1947, where he portrayed a political consultant, and Going My Way. In 1944, he played a grumpy but lovable landlord. Even though he was successful in movies, it was television that made William Frawley famous. In 1951, he was cast as Fred Mertz, the kind landlord and best friend of the Ricardos in the groundbreaking sitcom I Love Lucy. The show, created by and starring Lucille Ball and Daisy Aries, became an instant hit and is still one of the most beloved TV shows of all time. Millions of people loved Fry's depiction of Fred Mertz because of his dry humor and wonderful comedic timing. His on-screen chemistry with Vivian Vance, who played his wife, was also great. Ethel was a big part of the show's popularity, even though the two supposedly didn't get along off camera. Fred Mertz is one of the most famous and adored characters in TV history, and Folley's portrayal was a big part of that. His rough outside and hidden heart of gold made Fred a character that people could both laugh at and identify to. Fry's ability to deliver a joke with perfect timing, often with a well-timed grunt or eye roll, showed how funny he was. His depiction as Fred Mertz was so famous that it won him 5 Primetime Emmy nominations for Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series. Show how talented he was and how much he changed television forever. In addition to his involvement on I Love Lucy, Frawley kept making important contributions to TV after I Love Lucy ended in 1957. He went on to star in another hit show. He played Bub O'Casey on My Three Sons. The lovable grandfather role gave Frawley another chance to show off his ability to play gruff but lovable characters. He stayed with the show until 1965, when health problems forced him to retire. His work on My Three Sons solidified his reputation as one of television's best character actors. William Fry had to deal with a lot of problems in his life. He was known for his hard-living lifestyle, which included heavy drinking and a penchant for gambling. These habits often led to tension on set and his temper was infamous. However, despite these personal struggles, Frawley remained a consummate professional, always delivering performances that were of brilliant. His dedication to his craft and his ability to overcome personal demons to deliver such memorable characters speak to his resilience and passion for acting. The later years of William Frawley's life were marked by a series of challenges that cast a shadow over the successful career he had built. A career over many years, becoming famous for his appearances as Fred Mertz on I Love Lucy and Bub O'Casey on My Three Sons. Fry's life behind the scenes wasn't always as fun as the characters he played. By the time he was cast in My Three Sons, his health had started to go worse because he had been smoking and drinking heavily for years. Troubled him all his life. Even as he got worse health, Frawley was determined to keep working since he had a strong work ethic. He had a strong work ethic and a strong passion for acting, but the physical toll of his lifestyle choices started to catch up with him, causing a number of health problems that would eventually force him to leave the business. He adored Fry's going down. His co-workers on the set of My Three Sons were worried about his health, even though they recognized and revered his talent. His health problems made his behavior worse, which caused stress. He was notorious for his fury and unpredictable behavior, which made working with him difficult because his health was getting worse. Increasingly difficult. Despite these challenges, the cast and crew of My Three Sons made every effort to accommodate him, recognizing the value he brought to the show. His portrayal of Bub O'Casey was beloved by audiences and his presence was considered integral to the series' success. However, as his health continued to decline, it became clear that Frawley could no longer keep up with the busy schedule of a TV show in 1960. After 5 seasons of My Three Sons, Fry's failure, he had to leave the show because of health issues. This was not an easy decision for Frawley, who had always been proud of his professionalism and ability to give great performances. No matter what problems they have, the people who made My Three Sons replaced him with an actor. William, a longtime friend of Fry's, took over as the family's living grandfather. Even though Frawley knew he had to stand down, he didn't want to put an end to his long and successful acting profession. For a man who had spent his whole life in the entertainment business, it must have been hard and painful for him to realize that he could no longer perform. Fans and co-workers were sad to hear that Fry was retiring. His departure from My Three Sons marked the end of an era not just for the show but for television itself. Frawley had been a fixture on the small screen for more than 10 years, and his absence left a noticeable void. Fans who had grown up watching him as Fred Mertz and then as Bub O'Casey felt a deep sense of loss, knowing that they would no longer see him make these treasured characters real. His retirement also put an end to one of the longest-running careers in television. A job that had made millions of people happy and helped. What were the early years of TV humor like? After leaving My Three Sons, Fry's health steadily got worse in his last years. He mostly stayed out of the public eye, living quietly in Hollywood. He had spent most of his career there, but his health kept getting worse, and he had a string of ailments, including pneumonia and heart difficulties, even though he was getting worse. Frawley stayed in high spirits, often remembering his years in show business and the many parts he played. He was pleased of his contributions to entertainment and took comfort in knowing that future generations will enjoy his work. On March 3, 1966. Until a few days after he turned 79, William Frawley died of a heart attack. He had just seen a movie and was going along Hollywood Boulevard when he suddenly fell down. He was taken to a local hospital, but doctors couldn't bring him back to life. Lucille Ball commented, "I've lost one of my closest friends in show business, and those of us who knew and loved him will miss him." The one person at William Frawley's funeral that no one expected to see was Frawley's. The funeral was a small and private event. A few close family friends and co-workers from his long career in show business were there. It was a sad affair since it was for a man who had been a part of the entertainment industry for decades. Most of the individuals who were there had worked with him, known him personally, or shared important moments in his life. The mood was calm remembrance, with attendees sharing stories about the man who made so many people happy all around the country, but in the middle of there was one attendee at William Fry's funeral that no one expected to see. Attendance got a lot of attention and became the buzz of the event, considerably more than the eulogies and official events. The surprise guest was none other than his old I Love Lucy co-star Vivian Vance. Vance's presence was especially shocking because there had been a lot of talk about how she and Frawley didn't get along during their time on the show. Their off-screen relationship was often described as strained, if not outright hostile, with stories of mutual dislike that were said to come from the big age gap between them and their different personalities. Vance's presence at the funeral showed a complicated and possibly there was a lot of speculation about the two performers' relationship, and her presence at the burial was a strong statement that hinted at feelings that the public hadn't seen before. Some people thought that even if they were different, they still had a strong bond. Vance and Frawley had a mutual regard for each other that had never been fully acknowledged. Some people thought that Vance's appearance was a means to pay her respects and put to rest any residual anger. Not only was it a surprise that Vance was there, but it also brought back memories of the tangled relationships that often happen behind the scenes in the entertainment industry. It showed that the connections between performers are not always as easy as they seem on TV, and the audience witnessed Fred and Ethel Mertz portrays a couple that fights but still loves each other. The truth was far more complicated. Vance's attendance at Fry's burial showed how complicated human emotions can be, even in relationships that seem to be at odds with each other. Some people in Hollywood talked about Vance's surprise appearance, seeing it as a sign of reconciliation. Some people thought it was a way to honor the huge effect Frawley had on her career and the history of I Love Lucy, no matter what the reasons were. Vance's presence at the funeral brought an unexpected dimension of depth to the memory of William Frawley, reminding everyone that even in death, the stories of people we adore are seldom as simple as they seem.